Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gary gzduel, and you're watching a deck profile of my TeleDaD for the September 2013 format. Yes, September 2013 has been a very interesting list. They brought back Malicious back to 3, and they brought they brought Plague Spreader Zombie back to 2. Unfortunately, they did ban Stratos, Elemental Hero Stratos. So some of you might be thinking the deck is unplayable. TeleDaD, it'll never come back. Dark Arm Dragons at 1 is not good. Guys, is really good because you get to have access to a lot of the synchro monsters you didn't used to get access to back when TeleDaD was a thing. I mean, a lot of cool synchro monsters like Void Ogre Dragon came out. Cool stuff like HTS Sif, I don't know how to say his name, I'll just call him HTS. A lot of things like Crimson Blader came out. A lot of XYZ support came out. So, the deck can actually adapt to this new format, absorb all of these new elements, be pretty competitive. So, without further ado, I like to go into the deck profile. For the monsters, we have 2 Armageddon Knights, 1 Dark Arm Dragon, 1 Dark Refer, 3 Destiny Hero Diamond Dude, 3 Destiny Hero Malicious, 2 Effect Veiler, 3 Krebons, 2 Plague Spreader Zombie, 1 Allure Darkness for the spells, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Dark Hole, 3 Destiny Draw, 3 Emergency Teleport, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Mind Control, 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, 3 Pot of Duality, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 3 Upstart Goblins, I'll talk about why, and 2 Royal Degree, I'll talk about why. In the extra deck, we have Ally dressed as Catastor, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Black Rose Dragon, Colossal Fighter, Crimson Blader, Gaia Knight, the Force of Earth, HTS, I'm not gonna try, Scrap Dragon, Stardust Dragon, TG Hyper Librarian, Void Ogre Dragon. For the XYZ monsters, we have Gotchi, we have Gaga Cowboy, Lavavel Chain, and Maestroke. Some of you may be thinking this is just a random assortment of monsters and stuff. How does this even work? Well, guys, it works. I like to discuss some things that affect the playstyle of this deck. The deck can be played in 2 ways. It can be played in like a OTK burst type of deck. It could also be played in a spam synchro monsters control based type of deck. So what I mean by like control based type of OTK type of decks are, you just go 1 turn, you have the setup, you have Malicious, you have Plague Spreader Zombies, and you can just go for multiple synchros, remove all the monsters, all the cards on his side of the field, and once you've done that, you just OTK them. Your synchro monsters are like 2,800, 3,000 attack, and all that stuff, so you will be able to go for game a lot of the time. Other times, when you don't go for game, you have a lot of cool monsters that control the pace of the game. Void Ogre Dragon, I've come to really like this card. Void Ogre Dragon says, once per turn, during each player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you have no cards in your hand, you can negate the activation and destroy it. So it's like a Shien effect when you don't have cards in your hand. But that's what the deck is thriving on. The deck thrives on dumping all of the resources into the graveyard. So, you have Malicious, you have zombies and stuff like that into the graveyard, and you blow up, and after that you have Void Ogre Dragon to control the field. Sometimes I'll have Void Ogre Dragon set 4. You'll have things to protect you like Book of Moon. You'll have like a lot of cool things to support that, and you can play a control base as well. So I like to say that this deck plays a hybrid playstyle. In order to facilitate that hybrid playstyle, I run these 5 cards right here: 3 Upstart Goblins and 2 Royal Decrees. Royal Decrees are good. If you want to OTK, flip up Royal Decree, and all their trap cards become locked down. No mirror forces, nothing. You can just attack directly. In the control base as well, it is very good because a lot of people will think, the format has slowed down. The format needs to thrive on back row. Not a lot of decks will try to burst anymore. Well, they're wrong, because if they depend heavily on trap cards, if they depend on that bottomless to go off or that compulsory to go off, you Royal Decreeing allows you to control the game as well, because you get to lock down a couple of key cards on his side of the field while you have monsters that just move freely. So as a control, as an OTK assistant, it is very good. The Upstart Goblins are really good as well. You have a lot of draw cards in your deck. You have Allure of Darkness, you have like Destiny Draw, you have like Pot of Duality. It's almost like an Exodia deck, and I'm almost tempted to make this into an Exodia deck too, but we'll get into that. Maybe that's like a little secret side project I'm doing. But other than that, you really want to get into your combo pieces. You want to be able to dump cards into the graveyard like Armageddon Knight. You want to be able to make your destiny draws live, you want to be able to facilitate your OTK. So in order to do that, you want Upstart Goblin. And Upstart Goblin also has that downside where you have to give your opponent 1,000 life points, but that just helps you facilitate the control aspect of this deck. You can play controlled as well. You can choose when to give your opponent that 1,000 life points. You can choose to hold back this card. You can choose to set this card so that your Void Ogre Dragon will become live since you have 0 cards in your hand. So playing Upstart Goblin is like an art form. You have to know when to use it. You have to know when you need the pieces. You were willing to give them 1,000 life points, or you have to know when to just hold on to it. So that's the playstyle of the deck. I really like it. 1 Grepher. Maybe some of you may be wondering why 1 Grepher and 2 Armageddon Knights. I feel like Armageddon Knight is almost overall better than Grepher, but Grepher does set up the graveyard a lot at the cost of minusing yourself a little bit. But Armageddon Knight is just good overall. Armageddon Knight, you normal summon it, you can right away send Plague Spreader Zombie, and you can right away use Plague Spreader Zombie's effect, and you can go into level 6 Synchros, and you can go for HTS, you can go for Gaia Knight, and sometimes that really helps just put up a little pressure from this 1 card plus 1 card you return to the top of your deck. And so, I like this card way more than Dark Grepher, but I still like Dark Grepher in those times where you want to OTK and you have something like Destiny Hero Malicious. You can special summon that, you can use its effect again, send the Plague Spreader Zombie to the graveyard, and then you can normal summon someone like Diamond Dude, and then you can go for really crazy plays like Lavavel Chain, you can go for crazy plays like OTKs, and that's just really helpful as well. So I still keep 1 Dark Grepher in. They're all warriors, so they're searchable by reinforcement of the army, so that's always really good. In the extra deck, I chose to be more synchro orientated rather than more XYZ orientated. There are a lot of good XYZ cards you can play. Like, since they're all warriors, you can play things like Blade Armor Ninja. I think so. Yeah, Blade Armor Ninja, and also Excalibur. But I chose not to do that because I think it's very inconsistent to do that. Rather, you focus on synchros, what you're really good at. Now, the synchro monsters range from level 5 to level 8, which is really good if you have Mind Control, because Mind Control, if you just Mind Control one of their key cards like Thunder King, or like Kaiku, that prevents you from removing cards from the graveyard, you can just solve that problem easily, and plus you get a little synchro monster on the field to put pressure against your opponent. So if you have like a Kribons in your hand and you have something like Mind Control, that Thunder King that your opponent has on the field used to be a problem, but now it's a Gaia Knight for you. So it's definitely really good. And so the synchro monsters all have their purposes. Justice Catastrophe just removes problem cards. A lot of people play Fire Fist, they're fire. A lot of people play Mermails, they're water, so you can get rid of those guys. Ancient Fairy Dragon, it's really good sometimes. When you're locked down by that field card by Necro Valley, Ancient Fairy Dragon can be your saving grace. Or you can go for Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon can also be your saving grace. You can give Black Rose Dragon easily by Effect Veiler plus Destiny Hero Malicious. Not a lot of people see that coming, so they overcommit onto the field, and then I all of a sudden dedraw, discard Malicious, normal summon Veiler, they don't have a response, special summon Malicious, and just blow up that 3 cards on his side of the field, and I lose basically nothing. So that's a really good combo. Colossal Fighter is really good in this format because I see Blackwings are coming back, and Bujins are going to make an impact as well. So a lot of decks depend on battling, depending on like dropping Colludes, dropping Cranes, dropping Honest and stuff. But with Colossal Fighter, you're just free to attack. Sure, you might take some damage, but after that, your Colossal Fighter comes back, you basically lose nothing. So Colossal Fighter is good for that purpose. Crimson Blader is always good. Gaia is just generic rank 6. HTS solves a lot of problems. Scrap Dragon, monster spell trap removal. Starter Dragon, general protection. TG Hyper Librarian, nets you pluses. And Void Ogre Dragon, really, really good card. MVP of the extra deck. I think I almost always go for it. For Gotchi, I really think Gotchi is a good card. Sometimes you'll have like desperate moves where you have a Plague Spreader Zombie in your graveyard, you have a Kribons in your hand, and you can go for Gotchi, and all of a sudden you stall for 2 turns and you draw into necessary things. When you detach a Plague Spreader Zombie for Gotchi, it doesn't get removed. So what you can end up having is once in the 2 turns you draw into your setup, you can actually go off into your synchro place. So Gotchi really helps. Cowboy just finishes games. Lavavel Chain sets up the graveyard, and They Stroke plays a lot of defense. So unlike my other deck profiles, I don't have a side deck for this deck, mainly because I don't know what the meta is going to turn into. So I don't want to take a risk and like giving you guys something and then like a few weeks down the line, when YCS Toronto is over, the meta establishes itself, and this side deck becomes invalid, and people re-clicking my videos will be like, well, your side deck sucks. So at the cost of, at the risk of, that I don't want to put a side deck. I have like a general idea of what's going to be really meta, what's like good side deck cards, but if you guys want to know that, just comment down below. I might, provide a little bit of a side deck in the description if you want that, or if you have any side deck suggestions, you can drop in the comment section down below. You'll help a lot of people, and I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. This is Gary gzduels signing out.